While I think most of us might be waiting for September and October for that true onslaught of what seem to be great game releases coming, August actually has quite a few things I'm interested in personally, so I thought it'd be fun to maybe start a new tradition here on the channel where I go over games that I'm excited for, or at least games I'm kind of keeping a pulse on for the month of August, and then moving forward, September, October, that kind of thing. So I thought this would be fun. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. What games in August releasing are you interested in checking out? Let's get into it. Now, keep in mind, this is my personal games I'm interested in list, so I'm skipping Baldur's Gate 3 because I'm going to be honest with you, I have zero interest in that game. The thought of a game having 14,000 endings, there could not be a bigger turnoff for me. The only bigger turnoff may be that there's 1,000 planets in your video game. That might be the only thing that could turn me off more than 14,000 endings. So Baldur's Gate 3 I'm not interested in. If you want to find a list of games that are just overall coming out in August, I'm sure there's other outlets and YouTubers that do that. This is my personal list. So the first game I'm truly interested in August that I would like to check out eventually is something called Wrestle Quest. This is coming from Skybound Games, developed by Mega Cat Studios. This is releasing on August 8th for pretty much every platform: Nintendo Switch, PS5, PS4, Microsoft Windows, Xbox Series X and S, all of that fun stuff. This is basically, if you remember Golf Story on the Switch and Sports Story, it's like that, but for wrestling. But what's really cool here, and as someone who's not really a fan of wrestling, I'm not, I didn't grow up watching WWE or anything, they actually got licensed wrestlers. So like Macho Man Randy Savage is in there, Andre the Giant is in there, and it's just this RPG where you go through this pixel art RPG, and it's Wrestle Quest. It's very similar to Sports Story. I think if you know what Sports Story is, that's the easiest analog here, but it looks like a lot of fun. I saw their booth at PAX West last year, 2022, and they had, people dressed up as, iconic wrestlers. Macho Man Randy Savage was the one that they had on the booth, just running around, talking like Randy Savage. Fantastic stuff. I don't know if I'll get to this game when it releases. In fact, I probably won't, but it's definitely something I'm interested in to see how it reviews, and definitely check out eventually, maybe once it gets a physical release or something like that. But this one actually looked like a lot of fun. Looks like there's a lot of heart put into it, so I'm definitely interested in it. And then on to August 17th, there's a game that is actually just a port, but it is something I've been wanting for almost a year now, and that is Vampire Survivors on the Switch. August 17th, coming out on Switch finally. Still no release date for PS4, PS5, I don't believe, but this was announced in the June Nintendo Direct. Vampire Survivors, if you have not played it, since I know most of my audience is Nintendo-oriented, is basically this game where you just walk around and you fire projectiles and you upgrade your characters in all crazy ways, and there are just hordes of enemies always coming at you. Think of it like a 2D Warriors game almost, but the enemies come to you instead of you coming to the enemies. It might be one of the most, you look at it games and you're just like, this doesn't look that interesting, but then you play it and you just get it. There's something inherently addictive about it. I put a lot of time into it on mobile as well as on Xbox because it was locked out on Xbox for a few months there. But it's finally coming to Switch, and more importantly, it's going to have co-op, a new co-op mode, which is so exciting because not only do I love this game, my girlfriend really loves this game. She put way more time into it than me. So Vampire Survivors finally coming to Switch. It just makes so much sense laying in bed playing this game, and I am very excited because I didn't get too deep into it on mobile. I mean, I played a lot, but I didn't finish it or anything, right? I didn't play all the DLC, so having it all on Switch is very, very exciting. That's actually one of the games I'm most excited for in August, if I'm being honest. Then on August 18th from Team Reptile, we have Bomb Rush Cyberfunk. Now listen, I'm not a Dreamcast kid. I didn't play Jet Set Radio or Jet Grind Radio, Jet Set Radio Future. I didn't play any of that stuff. However, Bomb Rush Cyberfunk is a game that is very clearly a spiritual successor to those games, and it looks really cool. I love this style. One of my favorite games of this year so far is Hi-Fi Rush, which I think also very clearly wears its early, 2000s, late 90s Dreamcast inspiration on its shoulders. Bomb Rush Cyberfunk is just more Jet Set Radio, and while I haven't played Jet Set Radio, I'm very interested in seeing how it reviews and then eventually picking it up, probably not on release day, but it's just cool to see a game like this finally releasing because, I mean, I feel like I've been hearing about this game for years, so to see it finally releasing once again on pretty much every platform is very, very exciting. Then on August 22nd, we have a game that was actually delayed. It was supposed to come out in July, I believe. That is Immortals of AVM. This is an EA original game. I'm a little conflicted on this game because on the one hand, I think it actually looks really cool. It's a magic FPS, but it's only single player, which I know for some, that's like, oh my goodness, EA is doing something right. They're making more single player games. That's great. I feel like there's been, at least as someone who watches all of the Game Awards and Opening Night Lives and Summer Games Fest events, I feel like there's been such an influx of FPS magic shooters that are single player that I'm getting a little worn down. I think this game looks really cool, but what I would have hoped for is some sort of multiplayer. There's not really, at least to my knowledge, a very good multiplayer magic focused FPS, and that would be awesome. when I saw this game, I thought it was multiplayer, and that I would have absolutely bought it if it was. But because it's single player only, that does hamper my excitement for it a lot. And I once again, I know people are overall happy that it's a single player game because EA been doing all this multiplayer, loot box, cash grab, microtransactions. I get that. But for me, as someone who's been looking for more multiplayer games to play recently with my friends, if this had been multiplayer, it would have been an absolute day one. But because it's not, I'm going to wait for reviews. If the single player is really there, I'll probably check it out. But right now, I'm a little hesitant because it is single player. I wish there was a multiplayer to this. Of course, this is coming to all platforms except for Nintendo Switch, but it's definitely something I'll still keep an eye on, see how reviews are, and maybe pick up Black Friday or something, for sure. And then on August 25th, we get to the big one, the game I'm definitely most excited for this month, and that is Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon. Now listen, I've never played an Armored Core game, and I haven't finished most From Software games. The only From Software games I've finished are Bloodborne and Sekiro. Sekiro is their crown jewel, in my opinion. I freaking love that game, and I played a lot of Dark Souls 3 and Elden Ring and all that, but I never finished them. Daemon X Machina on the Nintendo Switch is one of my favorite Switch games, or at least it's one of my favorite, like, hidden gem Switch games in terms of games people don't really talk about or don't give enough love. I love that game, and it's everything I've always heard is that Daemon X Machina is just a worse version of Armored Core, and I truly believe I'm fine with believing that. I truly believe that game can be done much better. So to see From Software returning to Armored Core, bringing back this mech action genre is very exciting. Of course, we're also getting Daemon X Machina 2, Titanic Scion, but Armored Core 6, despite never playing an Armored Core game, I'm very curious to see what a truly big budget AAA take looks like, because I've only played Daemon X Machina, which is obviously a lower budget game, and although I loved it, I'm just curious to see what From Software can do with that genre, which I know is funny because they basically invented it, but I haven't played Armored Core 1 through 5, or there's like a million different games in between, right? So I'm very excited for this. This is a definite day one on PS5, and I can't wait. I'm hoping I get some friends playing it. I think it's multiplayer. I would assume it is, because Daemon X Machina is, and I'm excited to grind this game in late August. And then right after that, another game I'm very interested in checking out, I don't know if I will, but it is going to be on Game Pass and PS Plus, as well as Switch if you want to pay for it, is Sea of Stars. Sea of Stars is developed by Sabotage Games, the creators of, I believe, The Messenger, which was a huge indie darling a couple years back. This is their take on a classic JRPG with beautiful pixel art. This game looks gorgeous. I really want to play this game, but we're getting into that late August, early September period now where there's just a lot of stuff coming out. So I don't know if I'll get to it immediately. It is going to be on PS Plus and Game Pass, like I said, but when there are so many JRPGs that I haven't played, like right now I'm going through a Final Fantasy binge, I might just play Final Fantasy instead right now. But Sea of Stars is something that looks truly special. I'm very excited to see what this game reviews like, because, I mean, The Messenger is a very well-beloved indie game, so I'd imagine this will probably be one of the best reviewed indie JRPGs, basically, right? Or indie turn-based RPGs, I guess it would be the correct terminology here. So if you are not interested in Sea of Stars and you are a fan of JRPGs, I definitely suggest checking it out because it looks fantastic. Everything I've heard from, like press and previews and everything, it sounds like this game is very good, and the trailers look fantastic, so it's something that I would like to play, but if it's shorter, I will definitely try to get around to it sooner. But if it's like, 50 hours, then it's going to be harder to get me in that mindset, but it's something I definitely want to check out eventually. Also on August 29th is Samba de Amigo Party Central. Now, I'm not actually excited for this game, but I did pre-order it because of the buy two, get one sale at Best Buy. Samba de Amigo, coming back. Shout out. Of course, that's a Switch exclusive. Shout out. And then one final shout out, just want to mention this one. I'm not sure if I'll actually get around to playing it, but Trine 5, A Clockwork Conspiracy, coming to all platforms, Frozen Byte. I was a big Frozen Byte fan back in the day. I really liked Trine 2 and 1, and 3 wasn't very good, but I enjoyed it. I never played Trine 4, but I'm glad to see they're just kind of still doing these. Some would argue maybe 5 is a little too many. They tried to do some other stuff there. They did 9 Parchments. They did Has Been Heroes, which I actually really liked on the Switch. But I like to see Frozen Byte still doing what they're doing. Trine, of course, is their biggest franchise, so it makes sense to keep doing these. And I just like to see these continuously coming out. Eventually, I will play through them all with my girlfriend or something, replay 1, 2, and 3, get to 4 finally, and get to 5, which I've heard 4 is really good, so I'd imagine 5 will just be a more continued evolution of Trine, which is very exciting. So that is going to do it for this video. Those are all the games I'm interested in hearing about from reviewers and potentially checking out in the future or checking out on day one, releasing in August on PS5, Xbox, and Switch. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. What games in August are you planning on checking out? And even if it's not a game releasing in August, I'm curious, what games are you planning on playing this month? It is a slower month in terms of games I'm going to buy guaranteed on day one. For me right now, that's pretty much just Armored Core 6 and Vampire Survivors on Switch, and everything else I'm gonna wait and see, but I'm also very interested in. So it's gonna be a slower month. I'm gonna try to get through some stuff, maybe get back into Final Fantasy 14, hopefully play some more Yakuza. That's my goal right now. I'm halfway through Kiwami, so I'm hoping I can squeeze a lot of my backlog in this month. But September and October are pretty packed months, so it's going to be hard. So let me know what you're planning on playing, what you're planning on picking up in August, and until next time, folks, make sure you subscribe for more videos talking about games almost every day. Until next time, peace.